And the Happy New Year 2025 has arrived, friends. And hopefully you can hear me. Let's do a test here. Yes, I am hearable. I am hearable. Happy 2025 to all of you, amazing, beautiful tribe. It has arrived. Can you believe how fast 2024 flew by? There is an acceleration in time and space that's happening. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard. This is actually the 18th year in a row that I have gone live on New Year's Day. So therefore, I haven't really done anything in 18 years on New Year's Eve other than ceremony. 2 ceremonies. I do my ceremony, as I told you on yesterday's show, Tuesday's tea time, that I do the ceremony with my green candle and such. I do that New Year's Eve night, let that candle burn through the night. It's out by morning. And then after I get prepared in the morning, I do another one. And I also wrote the number 8 real beautifully on this nice piece of hard wood a couple times, which is also the infinity symbol. And this is going to go into, well, one of them I put in my wallet already. I did a couple of them, and used them and blessed them and did them in ceremony last night. And then this morning, and I got my little feng shui, little good luck golden frog that sits on top of my green number 8. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing year, friends. It's going to be another amazing year. So we see more predictions coming into fruition once again. Now, folks that are used to me, who've been coming every New Year's Day for 18 years, folks back in Philly anyway, because that's where I first started on the radio in Philadelphia. Then I moved over to Blog Talk Radio for many years, and then over to here. So I did already put out a forecast and predictions for 2025. I put out a lot. In the past week, I put out 5 different videos. So be sure to go back. Down below in the description, you'll find the link to the December newsletter, in case it didn't pop up in your email, or in case you want to sign up to the free newsletter, links down below. So one of the predictions, and we have more predictions today. I have a few other things that came to me that we're going to discuss, and I'm sure more will come to me. And then I have a list of questions. So I don't put any questions in now. I have a list of questions that's going to keep us busy for a while. But first, let's talk about the predictions and the review of 2024 and what's been going on. Starting with what just happened. 3 big things just happened. Huge. Told you the year was going to go out with a bang and start with a new bang. It certainly did. Puerto Rico. 90% of Puerto Rico is in the dark. Complete outage. Big outage. Now, you may remember in 2024, we warned Puerto Rico many times and had feelings to prepare for major outages and hack attacks on power grids, which is exactly what I believe it was. I have no doubt it was. And I actually have a feeling somehow that Cuba's involved with that. I don't know how, but I just got this strong feeling that somehow Cuba's involved with that. Speaking of Cuba, to throw a prediction in the mix here, I see Cuba in a major crisis in 2025. I don't know what's happening in the way of crisis in Cuba, but it's going to be big. And I think it's going to be quite a few things that hit Cuba besides political upheaval and something else terrible happening there, but also massive storms. Because remember, October is always a reflection of the coming year. And if we go back to October, how did October treat us when it came to the earth and weather? It's when North Carolina and all the big hurricanes came in, right in the beginning. A reflection of 2025, showing us that without a doubt, 2025 is going to be the worst year on record for storms and storm systems. Recorded, the biggest ones recorded ever, with winds over 200. I don't know what the record is. I should have looked that up, actually. But breaking the record for the highest winds, not just from like hurricanes and typhoons and cyclones, but also from twisters, tornadoes. Now, we also saw the very sad incident. Remember, our spirit kept warning us to stay away from crowds, stay away from barriers on the streets, especially parade barriers or anywhere along the street where you could be victimized by somebody using a vehicle as a weapon. And remember, I saw visions of that and that happening. Sadly, that played out in New Orleans, as you probably know by now. Last I read, there were 10 people who perished in that incident. And now they are calling it a fear attack. Totally, now I didn't read all the details, but last I saw, it actually came in my email on this computer from Epic News. It's the only one I subscribe to get emails of what's going on. FBI identifies New Orleans attack suspect. Sad. At least 10 and dozens more injured. That is just tragic, friends. That's just awful. What the hell is wrong with people? You got to be safe out there, friends, because this is just going to be kind of like, with the pow-pows that happen in schools. One person does it and it gives crazy people the other idea to do it. Not to also mention that, some things could be definitely PSYOP connected with the 3-letter agencies. So car plowed into people, and then someone just put this in the comments. Predicted vehicle going after Trump happened as a vehicle with explosives hit the Trump hotel. Now, I didn't even get an email. Did I get an email on that? I thought that I got an email on that, but maybe not yet. You're behind, Epic News. I didn't get an email on that. But it was Trump Hotel, and I wouldn't say that they were targeting Trump, because Trump, as far as I know, definitely ain't in the Trump Hotel in Vegas. Maybe he was for the holiday. I'd think he's probably at Mar-a-Lago with the rest of his billionaire friends. That's where I would expect him to be. Does it tell us here in the news? I get nothing on it. Hospital system implements mask mandate across Illinois. What's going on, Illinois? I told you they were going to bring them back. Told you they were going to do that. And there's all these sicknesses and things breaking out, which goes back to 2024 predictions. 2024 predictions, we talked about, especially towards the end of the year, new outbreaks and perhaps a potential for like a severe flu-like type of season. Now it's breaking out. I have friends in Pennsylvania tell them everybody's sick. Everybody they know is sick, including them. That's just one of my friends in Philadelphia. And I see it in your comments over the last video we did on yesterday. All your comments are saying the same thing. We're sick, I got sick, and a lot of you were saying it's because you were out there breathing in that fog. Now, if you want me to go deeper on that fog and drones, I did yesterday's video, so go back to yesterday's video. So we saw, again, so many predictions flow into fruition in 2024. And of course, there are some of those that have not yet seen the light. But that does not mean by any means that they're not going to happen. A good example of this would have been 2017 predictions. 2017 predictions, which you can go back on YouTube, it's there. I had visions of people wearing masks that felt very unusual, like people wearing masks everywhere, and talked about outbreaks and big outbreaks. It happened 3 years later. So some predictions happen really quick. I've said things that happened the very next day from the Tuesday show, and then the next day it happens. Like, for example, Spirit yelled in my ear, huge earthquake's going to hit Afghanistan. And it did the very next day. And then there's others that take a little while more to play out. So again, it doesn't mean that they didn't play out or they're not going to. And then there's the potential that we hold things in the light and perhaps we can shift things in a better direction. That's the whole point. So 2024 brought so many things into light, as Spirit said it would, when we witnessed my prediction of celebrity arrests and revelations around trafficking and other horrors that come out of Hollywood and the music industry. We see the whole P. Diddy thing happen. Now we see Jay-Z being thrown on the list with indictments of what happened with a 13-year-old little girl, which you have no doubt. You know it. You know it, friends. I mean, come on. It's going to come out more and more. This is just the beginning. As Spirit said, this P. Diddy thing is just the beginning. I don't know what's going on with this hair today. I pulled out my back last night. Oh, it's awful. Can't wait to lay on my heating pad and relax the rest of the evening. I've been busy beaver the past week. Actually, the past month. Father's funeral, had to fly back east, just so much. But still was an amazing year regardless. We also seen many of the places that we warned throughout 2024 of hurricanes, earthquakes, and eruptions also come into fruition. We saw my visions of Trump being hit in the right side at a rally and putting his hand up in the air that he was okay. That played out in July in Pennsylvania. I warned there would be a lot of assassination attempts and the fall of many leaders, including CEO heads, which I mentioned in several past predictions. And we know what played out with the United Healthcare worker takedown in New York City. Many leaders fell all throughout the year 2024. And 2025 is going to get even more interesting when it comes to that. I even saw, again, speaking of arrests, this just popped in my mind. Look at the indictments made in Holland against Bill Gates. There's, again, celebrity indictments, celebrity arrests. More and more are going to come. We also see the indictment, I don't know who's doing it, but against Netanyahu for crimes of conflict. So this is something we're going to see more and more. We also talked about the fall of many countries, the fall of many governments. This played out throughout 2024, such as in France, South Korea, and even the fall of Syria. Now, also, we saw visions of a bridge collapse, and we all know what played out in Maryland. What else came true in 2024? I don't know. You got to let me know down below in the comments. And if you do, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to, if you can, put a timeline, or if you know when I may have said that. Because I say we do a show every Tuesday and put out a lot of content. So any timelines that you can mark off, that'd be great. And then as you see things happening in 2025, be sure, again, to mention it in the comments. Always in the comments below. That's where you're not through email. Comments is the best way to do it. So someone is asking, I'm going to pull up a map. Hold on. Let me pull up a map because they're asking me questions about the planet. So let me pull up Google Earth. And when that comes up, we'll go up to the next point. What do you see for Germany in 2025 and 2026? Thank you, April, in the chat room. I'll get to that in a moment. Germany. So our friends in Germany, we've been warning Germany for quite some time now. And we're going to see sort of like what's happening in France with the fall of government. People get taken to the streets. But there's also going to be a cutoff. They're going to have a lot of problems in Germany, and especially when we get into next winter, when it comes to their gas and fuel and a cutoff of pipelines and problems with refineries. That's going to be all throughout Europe. That's going to be all over the world. We're going to see an attack on the gas and fuel industry throughout, the next few years, actually. Incidents like major refinery explosions. One of them is going to be a fear attack. I saw that vision a while ago, right near a city of some sort, and somewhere close by a grid. Maybe that'd be pretty silly to put a grid right next to an oil refinery, but I'm sure there probably is one somewhere. So also in Germany, like everywhere else in the world, you definitely need to be stocking up on food. I had visions, again, a few years ago, and things, as we know, take sometimes two to 4 years to come into fruition. People in line that reminded me of the Great Depression. And I had visions that also reminded me of what happened in World War II. So it's kind of like a replay of that. And I feel like there's going to be, I warned, there's another prediction that came true, actually. I warned to stay away from markets and such. And in Germany, we saw what happened at the Christmas market. And I felt like there was an attack of some sort against Christmas. That's definitely an attack against Christmas. So that's another thing that's going to play out in Germany. Are fear attacks. Vehicles, again, being used as weapons, but also something in your subway system. Not sure what that is. Something potentially even being released in the subway system. It looks smoky, and that smoke kind of makes me think of the fog that's going on that smells funny. It kind of smells funny. Yeah, that's Germany. Just stock up, be well, hold good things in the light. Know that a big crashing of your government's going to happen as well. What we're really going to see more than anything, as we already are, is the really corrupt, the really dark, evil leaders of governments and governments collapsing. It needs to. And 2025 is that 9-year, I can't stress that enough, a year of endings, death of cycles, getting rid of. And that can be beneficial. Now, if you're in your 9 personal year in numerology, it can be extremely challenging if you're resistant to letting go of things. My last 9 year was easy. Now, my friend's in his 9 year, and my friend and his partner, Susie, passed. So he lost somebody in his 9 year. That's why I feel like there's a lot of losses coming in 2025. Celebrity losses, the 3 presidential funerals that I saw probably about 2 years ago. That's all going to be, well, we know Jimmy Carter passed, so that's all going to start playing out. So April is asking, do I see activity for the New Madrid fault? See, I don't know what fault's what. I have to look that up. But you already told me. I live in St. Louis. So that's the fault line that goes up along the Mississippi River, correct? I believe that's correct. That's the one that's even in the prophecies in the video I did. What video was that? I think it was Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones, actually, where we looked at some of the prophecies like that of Edgar Cayce. He talks about that happening, and I've seen it in my visions as well. There is going to become active, but not in 2025. I feel like you're safe. There's going to be earthquakes along that Mississippi. It's going to start to become very active. But as far as a massive quake goes, I feel like more of these massive big quakes are all happening pretty quickly within a 2-year window as we get closer to 2029, 2030. Right before the end of this decade, and we step into the next. So 2028 to 2030, I would say, that 2-year window. Because also, you got to keep in mind that, as much as they don't really tell you this, but they kind of did, that on Friday, April 13th, 2029, the comet Apophis comes closer to Earth than anything. And it happens, according to prophecies, every so many thousand years. Now, people, of course, online say it's going to crash into the Earth. It's not going to happen. Because if it did, the Earth wouldn't exist anymore. But it's going to come very close. And following that are going to be meteors and all the stuff from the tail. That's stuff that will hit. And I'd say, again, April 2029. That's, as that approaches, not just 2029, again, 2028, as it becomes closer, that... And the other thing they're not telling you is the planet Nibiru, the red star planet that follows, in accordance to the Hopi's Blue Star Kachina prophecy, which I did a video on called Great Purifier, whole documentary about the blue star, red star Kachina. That's what they don't tell you. Now, in my 2025 predictions and forecasts, I said there's going to be discoveries through people's telescopes of a new planet approaching our solar system, or what have you. So that's going to be interesting. They can try to cover up the skies all they want, because they are, but it doesn't mean they're going to be successful in blocking this out, because they're not. They also want to block out the sun. You know why they want to block out the sun? Because they know the sun flares have a lot to do with our spiritual ascension. They don't want you to ascend, and they're not going to succeed. They can try all they want. Prophecy's prophecy. And in the end, the gold comes out. The golden age erupts. And people think that when we're shifting from one dimension to the other, the 4D to 5D and so all that like we're going to leave this planet and go to another. It's all happening right here on this Earth. Right here. Same planet. It's not like we're going to be taken away and put somewhere else. It's a shift of dimensions that happens right here. That's happening for all of us, again, between now and 2032. My Spirit's been telling me for a really, really long time. So the New Madrid fault, I would be more concerned about that as we hit 2028. Just smaller earthquakes. And did I bring up my map? Hold on. It's not coming up. Why are you not coming up? All right, we'll do something else. Go to the earthquake map. That'll work. And as I'm waiting for the earthquake map to pop up, someone else asked, do you see any... That's funny. April, someone just said that in my questions. Do you see any significant weather events for the Mississippi, Louisiana Gulf Coast? It's all kind of connected to the same area up that Mississippi River. All right, earthquake map. Oh, what are you doing? Stop being my friend. So the Mississippi, Louisiana Gulf Coast. Yes. Especially when it comes to... Why can't I get to this? Why can't I get to this? This is so weird. Did they change the website? I think they did. It's completely different now. Weird. Yeah, they totally changed it. Volcanic maps, map releases. Huh. Anyway, so Louisiana, especially the Gulf Coast, when it comes to storm systems, things washing ashore, including along that whole Gulf Coast, I see some incident happening with dolphins and fish washing on the shores. And I feel like as much as people might think it's related to chemicals, now we know the ones in Jersey are related to the windmills that they're putting everywhere. But this is somehow related to something under the ocean, likely seismic activity that releases perhaps some type of gas into the water that's affecting the fish. The fish washing up ashore will be a sign of an earthquake. And remember this, our friends in Texas, the Spirit says this will be a sign of an earthquake that's going to hit Texas, a rather large earthquake. All right, where's my earthquake map? Come on. This isn't being my friend. I'm going to find another website because they changed that website. It doesn't look the same to me anymore. There we go. Latest earthquakes. Thank you. And where we at, I always, when I go to the earthquake map, and I'm not really looking for earthquakes. I'm just going to the map because I need a map to look at. But I always go to the 7 days, 4.5 and higher. And we're just over the 100 mark. Yesterday, we were at 91. So there's 10 more added to the list, interesting enough. And when you go down the map that I look at, the ones in the red are always the big ones, and there was only one, a 6.8 in the Kuril Islands. The Kuril Islands is, where are they? Kind of right above Japan. Right up in there. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So let's go to the Gulf Coast again. Just because I want to look at Texas. Let's see where this big quake's going to hit Texas. Texas is going to get a big one. Watch for the fish that wash ashore sometime in that window after. I don't like this map. Wait, terrain. There we go. So I would say, yeah, outside of Houston, between Houston and Dallas. And they'll probably see the fish thing happen between, say, again, Houston and then the lower part towards Brownsville. That window, that little, and all those little gates is where all the cruise ships leave out there somewhere too. So I see something happening there. Do you see a hurricane tsunami shift in New Jersey? It scares the bejesus out of me, she says. a revamp of your hurricane. Tsunami shift. Well, the tsunami and the hurricane wouldn't be related to each other, first off. The tsunami hitting the east coast of the United States is all part of the earth shifts that are definitely going to happen in the coming 4 to 5 years. I wouldn't worry about that right this moment. I thought that they can also, of course, cause a tsunami if they wanted to. Russia has the technology to do it, and if they do, I'm sure China and everybody else has the technology to do it. I'm not worried about that for 2025 at all. I'd be more concerned about the hurricane activity that's going to be happening next year. Most of it's going to hit the southern parts, so towards the upper East Coast will be a little bit more fortunate. But I also feel a weather system that's coming up past New York and hitting right directly towards Connecticut and Massachusetts, and then sweeping across Maine. That will bring massive flooding and massive issues. I will do a completely separate full video on weather predictions probably within the next, say, 2 weeks when I get a chance. Because after today, I'm taking a little bit of a break for some time. Will the northwest coast, seems like everybody's worried about weather, huh? The northwest coast, I can talk, of Washington State near Canada be safe from now through 2025. Washington State near Canada. That's where the earthquakes are coming, darling. I said that before. That was another prediction that came true last year. when I pointed to the map and I pointed right to Vancouver Island, and they had those big earthquakes right there in Vancouver Island. And then eventually that Cascadia Basin right there, that's going to lift or something. It feels like it's actually lifting, which is really weird. Instead of sinking, lifting. So that's a plate right there. That Cascadia Basin is, what plate is that? What's that called? I can't read what that says. I don't have my glasses. But that fault line right there, there's almost looks like the shape of New Jersey, oddly. It really looks like the shape of New Jersey. Upside down, though. That's kind of weird. Interesting. So to answer your question, there is going to be earthquakes there. When is the big one going to hit along there? I don't know. I can't pick dates or times. But I can tell you that I've been talking about this whole area from, say, Sacramento, California, all the way up to Vancouver. That whole part of that. Now, what Spirit does say is watch Yellowstone Park, okay? Watch Yellowstone National Park. There will be three big signs that come from Yellowstone National Park. Those three big signs will be the warning of what's to come soon after on the West Coast. So there we go. We got that answer from the Spirits. Thank you, Spirits. We appreciate you. We do. Welcome, everybody, in the chat room. Where's everybody at today? It's New Year's Day. We had more people on last night than we did today. Interesting. Maybe they're all watching football or something. Isn't it football, big football day on New Year's Day? I don't watch that stuff, so. Going back to my list of questions here. I already got my questions. Thank you, folks. And you got me only for the hour because I have a live Zoom to do. And I got a bunch of other predictions down here somewhere. Yeah, I do. Just a few. Remember, for my full list of predictions and forecast, I did the video on that last Sunday. We did more predictions yesterday. What else did I do? There's been a lot in the past week. And then I had a top 8 predictions for 2025. And let me just look at this real quick. Sorry. I lost my train of thought here. Reading the comments. So where were we? Washington State now. We talked about Germany already. Will Trump be inaugurated? Yes, he will be inaugurated. As much as they might want to try to stop it as much as they can, they're not going to stop it. And it's not them. It's a someone. As much as someone may want to try to stop it, they're going to have high security. Remember, I had visions of jets, military jets flying over and around the inauguration. High protection. Remember the visions I had in the past of seeing Washington, D.C. like caged in like it was when Biden took over. Remember that? I see that again. So I don't know what's going on with that. And of course, you know, the inauguration that happens is a whole ritual that goes back to ancient Egypt and the pharaohs, whether you realize that or not. Because the stage is set up between the obelisks, you know, the big obelisk, which represents the phallic symbol of the ancient god Osiris. And then behind it on the opposite side is the Capitol building, which is representative of the womb of the goddess Isis. And they do this whole ceremony right in between those two significant markers. People don't also know that the big obelisk has an actual ancient Egyptian obelisk buried right next to it in a hole, manhole cover. And they put it in there. Weird, right? Weird. And they believe that when they're doing this ceremony, they're doing it like the ancient pharaohs. The inauguration is like the pharaohs, is when the god or goddess or both take the body of the pharaoh. And that's what their whole belief is, basically. That's where the whole inauguration happens. So it'll happen. Of course it'll happen. Now, do you see the cartel drugs and trafficking and violence stopping in Texas now with 47 elected? 47 ain't in there yet. But no, unfortunately, I had many visions about problems on the borders. I saw conflict at the border, and I made predictions around cartel wars and cartel conflict. Not just Mexico, but Ecuador. And there will be conflicts between cartels. But I also seen military going over, I thought it was U.S. military. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the Mexican, but I doubt it because they're part of it. The cartel runs that government. I saw visions of helicopters and all going towards a cartel house or compound. Compound would be the word, says the spirits. And that could cause a lot of issues. If somebody, for example, like Trump decides, I'm going to go in and take him out, because they're certainly going to try to take him out. No doubt about it. So there will be more problems along Texas. But Texas is going to stand strong. That's the good thing. Texas is going to stand strong, and those problems are going to leach over into Southern California at that border, and even in Arizona down towards the border, southern border down towards Tucson, those areas. So definitely there's more stuff coming, unfortunately, with that. These people ain't going to want to leave, and there's going to be more gang violence that comes. And again, that gang violence is going to be formed by the cartel, paid for by the cartel. And, you know, the cartel has weapons just like the military, so that's not a good sign. I would like to know if Michigan is going to be around in the next 5 years. Where is Michigan exactly? Oh, that's along the Mississippi, too. Right? Yep. And the Great Lakes are going to open up. So interesting enough. Because the whole earth is going to change and shift. So, yeah, says spirits, parts of Michigan will still be there. Parts of Michigan, don't ask me what parts, I don't know. Parts of Michigan will still be there. The earth is going to shift. Makeup, the maps that we currently use and look at are going to completely change. United States is going to be broken up. Africa is going to be broken up. And even in parts of Europe, just basically the whole planet in some form or another is going to have geological changes. Major geological changes. But we're also going to see new islands form, or more like islands coming out of the water during the shifts of the plates, including the big volcanic eruption that I see happening near Indonesia, I believe right at the edge of the Philippines. Massive volcanic eruption. That will form a new island because it'll be so massive. Now, I said that in past predictions. That was another thing that happened. I think that was last year. I could be jumping back to 2023. But I had a vision of a volcano and it forming an island, and that happened right at the edge of our friends in Japan. So that one came into fruition. So Michigan will be around, but it'll look a lot different. That's the answer to that. And will you go under? Someone's asking, will you go under the Euphrates River? Will you go under the Euphrates River? I think you mean in a remote viewing session, and absolutely not. Why would I do that? That would be crazy to me. Because if you read the Bible, that's where some of the fallen angels were bound beneath the Euphrates River. I ain't going nowhere near that place. That's also in the prophecy where the soldiers come across the Euphrates when the Euphrates dries up. The Euphrates is going to dry up. Well, it already has. I don't know how it's been, but a few years ago it was drying up big time. That's when they found the underground, the little old ancient structure and the tunnels where they heard voices coming out of them became exposed because the water dried up so much. There's also going to be conflict and war over the waters of the Euphrates, especially with Turkey and Iran, or Turkey. But Turkey and Iran, there's a lot of conflict coming up to that area of the globe. But I don't know. I'm not going nowhere near that Euphrates in any kind of meditation or channeling whatsoever. No way. Could Al Jaloni be the Antichrist? I don't even know who that is. What's his name? Al. Isn't he the... I think you spelled his name wrong because it's not coming up. So I don't know who that is. But I will tell you that exactly what Spirit told us a long time ago. Whoever it was at the time, they were in Turkey. And they were connected to that whole part of the Middle East. And I believe it's exactly where they still reside, right there in Turkey. Be aware. Be very, very aware. Moving right along. How will cryptocurrency do in 2025 and 2026? Let's get through 2025 first before you think about 2026. Now, I already touched base several times in past content in the month of December about cryptos. And the markets of 2025 is going to be a roller coaster of ups and downs, all of the markets. There's a collapsing that's coming, whether it's by the end of this year, early next year, but they are going to shift us into their digital currencies. They started those digital currencies last year. The USDC and a bunch of other banks all started in the 8 vibration. 8 vibrations about money, finances, and abundance. Of course they're going to do it then. I thought they would have collapsed it last year, so I was wrong on that particular timeline. But again, you can't always pick a timeline. You just know that these things are coming. Definitely coming. So same thing. You're going to see another Sam Bankman-Fried with somebody running away with all the money. We're going to see another one of them. People losing so much money. The only one that I would stick with, Bitcoin's going to have the same thing, ups and downs, but it's going to be around for a while. So when it goes down, jump on it if you can. XRP is another one. It's going to go down, but that one is the one I'm holding on to. And I'm holding on to it. If you can put a couple $100 in and just hold on to it for a while, then you'll benefit. Same with the precious metals. Spirit told us silver back long years ago. I talked about that at yesterday's show. Silver, in the last I looked, it was down to 28 something. I'm hoping it goes down to 26 so I can buy more. But that's going to be at all-time highs in the coming years. All-time highs. Remember, they need silver for everything. 15 ounces, minimum of 15 ounces of silver goes into every ballistic missile. And look at all of them they're shooting off. Your cell phones, your gadgets, solar panels. Solar panels don't use much, but they all do use silver. It's going to come a point where it's going to dry up. Same with gold. Gold's going to be the future. And think about the prophecies. The prophecies talk about the golden age. And I'd be buying big bars of gold. If I was loaded like that, I'd have big 10-ounce bars of gold, no doubt. And if you can do that, I'd be going out and buying yourself some 10-ounce golden bars because, the prophecies say the golden age. And I would think gold would have something to do with the golden age, for sure. That would just make total sense, wouldn't it? Someone said, do you have any knowledge of the movie coming out December 20th called Homestead? I looked it up and I looked at the trailer. The movie's about LA being hit with a nuclear and how people respond. That's creepy. Well, they put things right in front of our face in movies all the time. Or are movies part of manifesting these events? That's another thought we could think of. Is that what's really happening? Or are they using movies to plan events? Movies come out and then they're like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Just saying. I looked up that movie. I tried to see if I could watch it because I go to a special website where I can watch anything. And it wasn't on there. I was surprised. It wasn't anywhere. I even looked on Prime. Couldn't find it anywhere. And you said it came out December 20th, which it did say in the trailer. I just don't see it anywhere because I want to watch that. Just like the movie Leave the World Behind. Remember in that movie Leave the World Behind? The power outages. What was the other one? The drones flying in the air, dropping off pamphlets. Yeah. So no, I don't know anything about the movie so far, but interesting that you talk about that because in past visions, I saw military activity along California and along the coast. And also in Utah for some reason. I don't know why Utah. But Utah, California, military activity. I saw it in New York City. So something's definitely coming to there. Hopefully nothing like that, but something. And this is where I say eventually there's going to be an inside attack on this country. People may beg to differ, but I mean, it's just common sense at this point. The gates were open for so long. Al-Qaeda and their gangs are in. They're in. So is China. Probably Russia too. They're in, friends. They're in. And they could have brought anything with them when they came in too. That's what's probably going to actually be part of igniting the cartel conflicts and wars. Because they're definitely in on helping these people get across and bring the weapons over or whatever else that they brought with them. Let's see here. Someone asked if there's going to be a cure found for Lewy body dementia. I never heard of that. I know dementia, but I never heard of Lewy dementia. But it's all forms of dementia. And it's all forms of also connected to Alzheimer's. And a lot of this has to do, of course, some of it emotions with people's emotions. Everything's emotionally connected. energetically connected, but also the heavy toxins and the heavy metals, especially the heavy use of aluminum. That's a big one. And making sure that you do detoxes for your body, metal detoxes, to clear out the metals from your system. I know, like, when I have to start taking this again, actually, come to think of it. Charcoal caplets you can get, which is great. Like, if they're spraying your skies, you should be taking charcoal a couple times a day. It absorbs all the heavy metals and all the toxins out of your body. I have to go crack open a bottle now. I know I have some in my prepper cabinet. But yeah, charcoal tabs work really, really good. So cures, there's going to be many cures found. And first, to get to the cure, we have to get to the cause with many things like dementia. And the causes are coming out. We're seeing the cause of effect with foods, water. Again, they don't mention the heavy metals they spray upon us, even though they admit to it. But all these things are part of that and everything else that's happening with people's health. And the amount of radiation that we are always exposed to through computers, your cell phone, all this stuff, your modem, all puts out radiation. I take a natural kelp iodine every day to help with, because I'm in front of computers and electronics all the time. That is not good for our vibration. Now, what is going to be good for our vibration is what we've been talking about for a few years now. In the future, they're using light and sound and frequency to heal. And it's already been scientifically proven that certain frequencies shrink cancer tumors, certain types of tumors. And that technology is going to go on and on. And I had a vision, and I know, again, save the comments below, because people will be like, oh, that's the med bed. No, I had a vision. Yeah, it's like that. But Spirit said it's not a med bed. It's something completely different that you can say maybe looks like a med bed because you get in it and you lie in it. But there's something different coming out that's not out yet. And we'll see that technology come out in, say, the next 3 or 4 years. We're going to see a lot of major breakthroughs when it comes to the cures for diseases. And we're going to see, unfortunately, a lot of diseases and outbreaks, too. But we're going to see a lot of cures and a lot of, I'd say not even cures, I'd say innovations around healing the body. Because they're really not cures. It's really just getting your body back in balance. And they're going to be able to do that through different light frequencies and codes and all these different things. Along with certain herbs, of course. And there's so many plants in the Amazon jungle that have never been even explored. There is a plant, a tree, an herb, or a natural supplement on this planet to heal all ailments. It's just we lost touch with that, thanks to the Rothschild and Rockefellers. We're going to get back in touch with that. We are getting back in touch with that. And so lots of amazing, I wouldn't even say cures, I would say healing, getting the body back in balance, because that's really where the cure comes in. So it's going to be really interesting. The future is going to be amazing. I look very, very forward to it. Someone's asking about our friends in New Zealand. What can we tell you have in store for New Zealand? Well, apparently the global elite really like New Zealand, and they have a lot of their big billion-dollar bunkers that are built in New Zealand. I forget what the maps say, the future maps. That's in my video, Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones. I think New Zealand's still there. I'm pretty sure it's still there, part of it. It's interesting because, some of the maps that I show in that video, one of that particular maps, someone on probably TikTok or something, matched up the land that all the farmland Bill Gates was buying. And it was all land that was above water on the maps, none below. Is Gates following the map? When people think that the government and all are inducing all these weather events, not all of them. Some, yeah, they are definitely manipulating the weather. But in the end, it's going to be Mother Earth that's going to do it all. So in New Zealand, there's going to be quite a bit of volcanic activity. Quite a bit of volcanic activity, just like the Yellowstone National Park. 3 big events at Yellowstone. Closing down Yellowstone and something that ignites fire, which is probably somehow related to magma or lava or something. That's going to be interesting. New Zealand's biggest problem is going to be the fight for their freedoms and to get their freedoms back. Same with their friends in Australia. So still fighting with the governments, especially in Australia where the native people are really coming together. The indigenous people are really pushing in. And wanting to take over. That would be interesting to see the indigenous people come in and start running things. So that's the fight. It's the fight for your power and your freedoms in New Zealand. And just that big volcanic eruption you're going to have, but that'll affect some air travel and delays around air travel. But I feel like it's far enough that it's safe, that you're safe, but you're going to be seeing quite a Earth light show from that volcanic activity. What's going to happen in Haiti? Happy New Year. JT. Haiti. Now, Haiti, we talked about Haiti before many times, and I haven't checked in on Haiti in a while, but there was a lot of stuff happening. I remember I saw some type of military intervention in Haiti. I saw planes, military planes and choppers flying into Haiti. And Haiti's going to shake really, really hard in 2025. I believe more towards the latter part of 2025. What do you mean by that, spirits? A big shaking. I would say that that's going to be very much like the shaking they had many years ago when the Clinton Foundation stole all the money. Yeah, that Haiti, remember that? That's a fact, by the way. So I'm going to say a big shaking is likely a big earthquake that's going to hit Haiti. But the shaking is also, I would say, a political shaking and a need to go in. Of course, it'll be probably the United States or one of their allies that go in and, start taking over the country. Saying, we're going to help. We're going to go in and help and get rid of these bad rebels. Be interesting. I have to look into Haiti, though, what's been going on there. Because, they got suddenly quiet about that over the past month or two. Will The View be taken off the air soon, in your opinion? Those women put out way too much negativity. Don't watch it. Just simple. Just don't watch it. I met all of them. I've been to The View. Yeah. Barbara Walters days. I have no comment about how awful they were. They're worse in person, believe it or not. They're worst in person. So full of themselves. And I was like a super Whoopi Goldberg fan until I met her. Super fan. Not anymore. Whoopi's going to have some health issues going in. She's going into her 6th year. Her birthday's in November. She's a Scorpio. Likely not one of the good ones. And she is going in her 6th year, which doesn't mean necessarily health related. But by July, sometime during the late summer, she has a major health issue, maybe even surgery, and this could be heart related. So that could take her off the show for a little bit. But I feel like The View will be around for a few more years, unfortunately. They're going to try to revamp it. Something's going to happen where Whoopi's out, probably her health. They're going to try to revamp it with someone else, but it ain't going to do any good, and it's going to drop. And I'd say probably within the next 3 years, if Whoopi's in her 6th year next year, which is 2025, 2026, 2027, 2020. Yeah, towards the end of the decade, actually. The end of the decade is the end of the show. So, yep, you got to still, don't watch it. I wouldn't even watch the network. Because watching anything on the same network of trashy shows is supporting the network still. You're better off going online and watching stuff. That's what I do. I don't watch mass media. Sometimes I will online on YouTube. I'll watch news just to see what they're lying about today. It's kind of my fun thing to do every night or every morning. Let's see what they're lying about today. I got that one. I got that question. Will the WEF carry out their plans for the world or the countries back their plans? Or will countries are already backing their plans? And we talk about countries are already backing that whole, what's that name of that friggin' thing that they did? Where basically they can come in and take over the whole country if there's some type of an outbreak. So all they got to do is create one and go in and take over the world. It's part of their new world order concept and agenda, of course. So will they carry out their plans? Well, I see they'll begin to. Things are going to start to go. But they have to go in order to awaken people. Some people, when you talk about this, they still say you're conspiracy theorists, even though they could go right to the website and see for themselves the agenda, because they put it right in our faces. They do not care. Right in our faces. DT ain't going to go for that. So that ain't going to happen. He's going to push them right out. But I see a complete crumble over the next 5 years of the United Nations, the WEF, and all these billionaire lizard people. I don't know if they're lizard people. It just sounded funny. Just sounded funny, friends. I'm not really saying that. It sounded funny. But, you know, these people, or whoever they may be, whatever planet they may be from. But yeah, it's all going to crumble. Ashes, ashes, all come down now. Oh, yeah. Will the Maldives be affected by a large earthquake in Indonesia? I don't know where exactly the Maldives is, other than you just said Indonesia. But there is going to be major problems in that area of the globe when it comes to weather events and major weather events. I'm going to go back there on my computer right here. Hold on. Maldives. So where at exactly is that? In my geographically challenged area of my brain. So what I see, as I said earlier, is a massive volcanic eruption that's happening right near the Philippines. That's going to be the big problem that causes all kinds of flight delays, evacuations, and forms again new landmass. Then I see all kinds of activity down towards, I guess you could say, the southern part of Indonesia. What is that right there? That is the Java Sea, towards between Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Northern Territory of Australia. That's where I see major activity igniting. But also right at the Indian Ocean, and this is in my past predictions, and this would affect Indonesia and that whole thing, because I saw waves, big waves hitting parts of India, the India shore, and I feel like that's somewhere right below the Bay of Bengal. I pointed to it in one of my other videos. And again, I will do a full weather prediction, earth prediction event video and do the map scrying and everything as I did in the last weather video. Because I get pulled to certain areas, and I like doing the map scrying a lot. It's very accurate too. So we'll do that again within the next couple of weeks. Will there be a time in the next 4 years of peace, even if it's short? So that's kind of a loaded question. Depends on, it's not specific enough. If you're talking about world peace, no, definitely not. Not yet. Not until we shift into the new. When we shift into the new, then there's peace on earth in the golden age. But until then, no, there's always going to be conflicts. Depends on where you're talking about. You know, peace in the next 4 years, I guess you're talking about the whole planet. Now, unfortunately, no, we're going into that window of time of chaos, as Spirit told us, to prepare and to do everything. Now, someone also asked, would the X coin be the same as XRP crypto coin? I do not know. I don't think so. I don't think so at all, actually. I don't even know what the X coin is. Is it related to Musk and his little thing? Because he does want to turn X into a banking system, kind of like PayPal. That's part of his plan, to turn it into something. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but no. If that's the case and X coin's connected to that, then no. XRP is completely different. XRP is connected to the company Ripple. Two different things. When the NWO takes place, will we have houses to live in back in Time's era? Like back in Time's era. Will we have houses? Where the heck else would we live? Of course we'll have houses. There's going to be new innovative houses and ways of living in the future. And the NWO ain't going to take place. They're going to try. It's going to be initiated in some places, but they're not going to succeed, friends. The light's going to win in the end. So they can take that NWO and shove it up their you-know-what. Because it's not going to happen. They're going to try. They're going to push it. But we are going to fight and we are going to win. So here's some other predictions for you. And remember, if you are just joining us, Happy New Year to you. I hope you're having a great New Year's Day. I hope your 2024 was amazing. Remember, you focus on all those blessings and miracles of 2024. And today and yesterday, and the more blessings and miracles that will flow into your life throughout 2025. The more you focus on complaining or worrying, the more the universe is going to give you to worry and complain about. Don't do that. Focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. And Happy New Year to you all. And again, also, I did the whole forecast last week and several videos with predictions you can go back and look at. But here's a few other predictions to add to the mix. visions that I had this morning or last night. I see a very unfortunate attack that's happening on schools coming. And this feels more like a fear attack than just another random school pow event. It felt more like a fear attack. Like, people going in wasn't a kid, a mad, angry child of some sort. Felt more like an evil person with evil intent. And I felt that it's so much different. And it felt really big to me. And it feels somehow repetitive. I don't know what that means, but it just kind of felt repetitive. And I don't feel like this is all United States either. I feel like this is playing out in a few places, probably also overseas. I also see some kind of other crazy event around school buses, yellow school buses. One of them being taken hostage. I don't know by who, but I see yellow school bus being taken hostage. I said that was another prediction that I said last year about a bus. I think it was last year. Could have been 2023. About a bus being hijacked. And that happened, I think, in Chicago. I think it was Chicago. So something with school buses and one being taken hostage and another that somehow involves a pow of some sort. In turn, this is going to bring both schools and education to the forefront over the next year and over the next few years, and taking measures that actually better protect the kids, the schools, and transportation as well. Of course, they'll use technology and some kind of technology or something to do with that, probably something creepy. Now, attacks on the CEO was a past prediction that came true in New York City, as you know. But I have to tell you, friends, no doubt, the guy being accused behind the bars, he's definitely not the one that pulled the trigger. That was not him. And I stated before they even caught him that it was a professional hire. No doubt it was a professional hire. Everything about it was professional. The kid is certainly not a professional, friends. They altered his mind somehow, probably with that MK thing. And we're going to see more incidents like this taking place in 2025 and 2026. That CEO takedown is only the first. And remember, I went back 2 years ago and talked about predictions of global elite beginning to drop off. CEOs, leaders, and even billionaires or global elite starting to drop off like flies. So could George Soros be one of them that passes in 2025? He'd be a part of that a big part of that web of darkness, even though his son's worse, according to people. But that's what we're going to see. We're going to see everybody's crumbling. All the corruption's coming out, friends. It's an exciting time to be on the planet Earth. Yeah, crazy things are going to happen, but it's exciting. This stuff needs to happen to awaken people and to stop the corruption, the trafficking, the hurting of our little ones. It's coming, friends. It's going to be wild and amazing. And I have a live Zoom call that I have to get to, beautiful friends. Thank you, Liz the Wiz, for your chat cash. Liz the Wiz, I love you. Who else did I miss? Henry. Hi, Henry. Happy New Year, says Henry. Z says nothing can stop China's annexation of Taiwan. Yeah, I read that this morning, Henry. I read about that. China says in his New Year's Day speech, he said that nothing's going to stop. I told you I saw them being surrounded. I told you there would be a takeover of Taiwan. It's coming. And that's probably going to align with my past prediction where I felt China was planning multiple attacks at the same time. I don't know how, probably with help with Iran and Russia. But I saw multiple attacks happening at once. I think there were 3 in all. I also had visions of the aeroplanes, the military airplanes lined up literally looked like hundreds of them to me, going across the ocean. I don't know where the heck they were going, but they were going to invade something. Not good. But yeah, so can Trump help prevent China from wanting to invade Taiwan? Nope. Not at all. Remember, China didn't want him in. They tried their best to make it so it wouldn't happen. And so, no. And it's also, the whole thing's about the computer chips. You know that, right? The whole thing's about the computer chips, and the chips that are made in Taiwan are the best ones in the world, the conductor chips. And now China just did that thing where first, United States did it where they banned the import of those chips from China. And now China turned around and made it something else, banning. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about those computer chips, those conductors. Thank you, Sherry Berry, for your chat cash as well. And Merry Happy New Year to you. And April, welcome to the tribe, silver level, silver and gold. And again, friends, I got to get over to and thank you, Betty. Thank you, Betty. Betty. So I hope behind me, I have my green candle burning from this morning. I burned one last night as well. And again, if you're just joining me, write the number 8 as the infinity symbol on a nice piece of paper, put it in your wallet. It attracts abundance and all those amazing things. And I'll be back, not until Tuesday though. Not until Tuesday. 5 videos, 6 videos now on the past week, 8 days. I'm taking a break. I'll see you all next Tuesday. And I hope that you have the most amazing, the most blessed, and abundant and joyful 2025 and beyond. And I thank you all for the love and support that you have brought to me and this channel over the past year. And even more so, what's to come in the new year. Again, I will do a weather video in the near future. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you, and let your light shine ever so brightly in 2025. Much love, friends.